folks, my name is Jürgen, aka Not I'm Proud of It, and Destiny has brought you to my channel today to enjoy the second part of my chat to Jesper Myrfors, original MTG artist, as well as the first Magic the Gathering art director. I was able to talk to Jesper for almost 50 minutes. He was kind enough to take so much time for me, but I thought that would be a bit much for one video, so I simply cut it into two parts. For the rest, it's completely unaltered. It's just cut through the middle with a little intro and a little outro. If you have missed the first part, I'm gonna link to the first part at the end of this video, and you can either check it out right away before you watch the second part, or you can watch the second part first and then the first part, whatever you prefer. If you have any questions for Jesper, he was kind enough to offer to do a follow-up talk, so let me know in the comments, let Jesper know in the comments if you have any questions for him, and I will relay those questions, or we will maybe record another video at a later point. And that would, of course, definitely be a lot of fun, especially if we could actually answer your questions in that follow-up video. For now, enjoy the second part, stay healthy, stay frosty, and here you go.
And they're so much better than I am. And the fact that some people view my work sort of in that same light and it has that effect on them in their lives kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Then you do to people, or your art influences people like you have been influenced when you were a kid, and it's like coming full circle somehow. Yeah,
It's gratifying and a little
yeah,
hard to believe.
yeah. But it is the case, so that's very cool. Have you? And I know a little bit. You are not into the more recent Magic the Gathering. Obviously, you're busy with different endeavors, and but have you heard and probably seen something about the MTG 30 edition, the 30th anniversary
Yes,
edition, in which
yes,
they
it was a
used your art?
huge,
Yeah,
huge slap in the face to the people
yeah.
who made that game. See, I have a rule. I don't play games by corporate game makers, and I definitely don't play games by companies where BlackRock or venture capital are investors. So I
Hmm.
don't play anything by Electronic Arts, I don't play anything by Activision Blizzard, and I don't play anything by Hasbro.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
they don't make games for gamers. They make games to enrich their shareholders, and they view the gamers as a resource that they can harvest at their leisure whenever they need more money. And nothing said that more than the fact that they thought they could take that level of advantage of the people who made their company possible in the first place, to charge $1,000 for 4 non-playable booster packs and expect people in a struggling economy to shell that out, mostly because many of them are on the spectrum. It's completely predatory. It shows these people aren't your friends and they don't care about the product, they care about your money. And I
Yeah,
want no part of that.
I totally understand. And you didn't even know. That's from what I heard from some of your colleagues, at least. Did you know that was coming, or did they just drop it on you?
I
Like
heard a
you?
rumor, but I didn't
Okay,
know that the price was going to be $1,000. And
yeah,
and my
crazy.
guess is it's because they heavily invested at Hasbro in Star Wars figures without realizing that Disney was going to destroy Star Wars. And so they had this big financial gap, and they probably thought, "Oh, those stupid Magic players will make this up for us easy. They'll pay $1,000 for this, no problem," which they didn't. I can tell you that the
Oh
30th anniversary did not sell. I still
no,
own my work. I still get that royalty, and that check was minuscule.
yeah, no. But
So all they achieved
yeah.
is making a lot of bad blood.
Yes, made people angry. No, I was a strong advocate against that 30th anniversary edition, at least the way they did it. And in general, I think it was not only a slap in the face to you guys who created it and to the artists and everybody involved, but also to the collectors and players that were there from day one. And now the only thing they wanted to do is print the dual lands twice on the print sheet to capitalize on those and make money off the commander players that need them in their decks, because that's the most popular format. And for the rest, they didn't care. If they would have like made a box maybe with the original artwork and indeed like a collector's edition back, you could draft and you could relive that experience. Even I, as a collector, would have said like, yeah, I can understand that people might
They
want to
should
relive
have
that.
released they
Yeah,
should have released the 30th anniversary as just a straight beta release with a different border color. They should have run tournaments using just those cards for a
yeah,
year or two. They really should have embraced it. They should have let new players know what it felt like
exactly.
to get into the game at the ground floor. But again, they had no interest in the nostalgia
No,
aside from how they could milk it. They had no interest in the players or doing anything good for them. It was a completely cynical and predatory attempt on behalf of the shareholders,
oh,
which
I
include
I agree you. I
institutions like
agree with you.
BlackRock.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a good
If
move.
you
No.
think Hasbro cares about you as a consumer,
Oh,
you're an idiot. I mean, I hate to be that blunt. They care about their shareholders, and that is it.
it's I'm not as outspoken as you in general. I think which I don't mind at all that you are outspoken about these things. But I had my bad experiences with these companies, and I worked in the gaming industry as well, and it wasn't always sunshine. And yeah, then I pack my bags and I move on, and looking for something else, and hopefully have a better time there.
I
And
take it personally
yes,
because
no, I can
gaming
imagine.
gaming
Sometimes
got
you
me
do. Yeah.
through a lot of bad times, right? I'm on the
Yes.
spectrum. I only discovered that in my 50s, but when I was younger, life was rather difficult for me because I didn't fit into society very well. And when I discovered fantasy gaming, it was something that changed my life. It introduced me to people like me. It let me use my fantasy. It fostered a love of history. I started reading a lot more. I mean, I always read a lot, but a lot more. And the whole world was open to me as in how this could be used in gaming. And the games I played were made by people who felt the same way I did, and who like early TSR was run by people who made Dungeons and Dragons for
Yep.
themselves, which is why it was such a good game. It had heart, but
Yes.
these games by large companies, like I said, they're not made for gamers anymore. They're cynical cash grabs for shareholders, and I want no part of it. I
No,
want
fair enough.
I want to feel the excitement that the game developers feel. And that's why now I play exclusively indie games.
Okay. No, I hear you. Did you have that excitement obviously in the beginning
Oh
for a
yeah.
while? Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about one thing because I was pretty excited about this one. Uh, do you remember these?
I do.
Yeah, the it's still a sealed starter, Undead and Elves. It's called Cloud Fantasy, and I think you're responsible for that one, right?
Yes, Paul Peterson helped me create it. It's it's near and dear, but it failed. And it would have failed
Oh,
inevitably anyway because that is a social game. You cannot play it remotely, and COVID would have killed it if nothing
in
else had.
yeah, in the end, it would have. I think the concept was quite interesting with the dexterity and the chips, and trying to collect those. And some were stronger, and some. It's a bit, of course, yeah, inspired by the trading card game idea, and I like the direction it went into. But yeah, it involved an aspect of the dexterity aspect might have been not fitting with the audience somehow, because yeah, they were used to more tactical gameplay maybe. I don't know, but I liked it personally. And at the time it came out, I worked for the Benelux distributor, and yeah, we did quite some effort to make it happen, together with Peter Atkinson, who introduced us to the game back then. I think I don't know if you still are in contact with him. He currently is still busy with Gen Con, or I haven't talked to him in
I have no
years and
idea.
years. No, no, not in contact with him anymore. But that was an interesting game. And the other stuff you did, like Vampire and I think Rage, you did some stuff as well, right?
A
The
little bit,
card
a couple
game.
of illustrations for Rage. And
Okay.
then Brian Snowdy and I did a game called Dead Fellas, which I'm really proud of. That was a fun game where you play zombie mafia.
Okay, that sounds fun. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. I have to admit that.
It's a very simple game. It's a game for non-gamers. You can play it with people who don't really play these kind of games, and they will get it and have fun. I don't
Okay,
think it's in
good.
print anymore, though.
Okay. No, I like these kind of games. It's I don't know if you know it, and it's probably a bit more mainstream, but it's called Dixit, where you are giving an inspiration based on the art cards you
Oh yeah, no,
see.
I have that game.
Oh, I really like it. I played with the kids as well, and every time somebody who is not into gaming comes along, it's very interesting to just introduce them to these kind of games because everybody can play it because it's just your own personal opinion of what you see, and then people can interact based on that and not on a total strict gaming concept. That's
Yeah, I
always
thought it
very
was a
nice.
great idea.
Yeah, it was. We got a couple of expansions. Very cool. Um, Going back a little bit, just and I won't keep you too long. I really appreciate you take the time.
So I'm
But
here as long as you need me to be. I
very good,
I
very
owe
good.
the community everything I have, so I am at your
Uh,
service.
I appreciate it, and I think it's awesome. Like I told you before, that all of the guys I talked to, especially from the original MTG artists, and some more recently, I really like a game called Sorcery. I don't know if you have heard of it.
I
Sorcery
have heard
Contest the
very
Game.
good things about it, but I haven't played it.
It's fantastic, and it's more like a big art project, and the artists are the focus, and I would strongly suggest to check that one out. The game itself is very good, but it goes back a bit to the roots, so I was able to talk to a couple of those artists as well, but also to the Magic the Gathering artists
I
from the
was
early days.
approached recently by
Yeah,
someone who said they had talked to the game's creator and he would be interested in me doing work, and I'd be more than happy to.
I
Because
can
that's the kind of project I love. I love working on projects by
fantastic.
people who
Yeah.
love the project they're working on more than the money it's gonna make for someone else.
Exactly, and they are definitely doing that. They did the Kickstarter themselves. The creator is called Eric, and he actually funded about 400 pieces of art before doing the Kickstarter. Those were all done, and the base set has about 400 cards. And they're doing like one expansion a year, just making original hand painted art, nothing digital. A bit like in the early Magic the Gathering days. I assume digital was forbidden back then, right? That was
It
your only rule: no digital art.
Right, but I'd like to clarify why that was, and it
Okay.
was because back in those days, most digital art relied heavily on 2 programs, Poser and Bryce, and they were very, very easy to spot. You didn't have the same kind of digital tools that you have today or even a decade ago. So it was a very sterile, easily identified, bad looking style of art. And so I didn't want to mess with it. I know that there were digital artists back then who could do real art, but I didn't want it. I wanted actual art. And not
No.
that digital art isn't actual art, but I mean, I wanted art where there's an original that can sell or an original that can be hung on a wall, that sort of thing.
Yes. No, that's exactly the idea behind sorcery as well. And the creator, like I said, Eric, he took it upon himself before asking for money, even with the Kickstarter. And yeah, it is fantastic, and the artists are very well treated. They all talk well about it, and yeah, I think it's a good project. I don't talk to Eric that often, but I do have his contact data. So if you want to, I can check it out for you as well and ask him. But that's for a later stage. No, what I wanted to say is that all of you guys, and like you just as well, like I'm here as long as you need me because I'm here because of the community and what I owe to them. All of these guys, all of the artists had the same attitude, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love that. Very very cool. I appreciate that a lot.
I also had
Um,
another rule. I
yeah.
didn't hire people with runaway egos because they are always more trouble than they're worth. They could be the best artist on the planet. They're still not worth working with if their ego is a problem. Arrogance,
Oh.
arrogance will get you not hired by me in a heartbeat.
I, I think that's a good rule. And I, like I said, I haven't encountered that in the artist scene yet, personally. But of course, I have not been involved as deeply into this as you have been. But I can imagine there are some big egos out there, right?
I have run into very few, maybe,
Very few, but some.
because most people realize that when you do the work, it isn't worth much without an audience that appreciates it, and you have to
Mhm.
be thankful to that audience. You have to be.
Nice. Yeah,
They're
no,
the
but I
basis of your
agree.
career.
It it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I think I totally agree, and on the other hand, I think the fans should be friendly and respectful and modest, and not expect things from you just because they grew up with your art or they appreciate your
No,
art,
I've
and they
never
think,
had a
hey,
bad interaction with a Magic
no.
player. Never.
Magic players are super nice in general, and I think yeah, what that is what I am experienced with sorcery fans at the moment as well. It's a super cool atmosphere, and the people are very nice. I wanted to ask you as well about briefing the artists back in the day. I heard you just gave them a phone call and you gave them the name of a card, and I
Well,
think Anthony Maddox.
I read a list,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they
How
could
did
pick
that?
the they
Okay.
could pick the ones that sounded interesting to them, and then I would tell them what the card did and what color it was, and that was all the information I wanted to give them, because again, I wanted their imagination. I didn't want them to see I did not want them to do a version of what I was seeing. I want them to do what they saw.
No, I think that worked out great.
Because
I
what's the
mean,
point of hiring a fantastic imagination if you're not using that imagination to its full capability? To me,
yeah.
there isn't any.
No, I agree. And I can imagine, and again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I can imagine that changed over the years at Wizards of the Coast. I think you've been art director for around 7 years until like 2000.
I worked there from, I think, 92 to 94 or 5, and
Okay.
then I came back 98 and I left in 2000.
Okay. Uh, because
And
things had changed and the focus wasn't.
it was an absolute corporate hellhole.
Okay.
There
I
was
can
there
imagine.
was no freedom anymore. There were focus groups. The company was run by people who didn't really know gaming, so they didn't have the gut instinct, so they had to second guess everything. They were trying to maximize profit for everything. I remember a meeting that I where they were trying to say, "Look, this is all the stuff we can have made cheaply in China with the Magic logo on it." And I said, "Are you really trying to see what cheap crap you can get Magic players to buy because of the logo instead of actually offering them something worth buying? This is disgusting." And they ended up not doing it. But they had meetings like that.
Yeah.
Maximizing profit, how to get the most out of the players, and instead of just let's make a fun game and it will make money.
I have experienced that as well with them, and I was in contact a little bit with them via the distributor, which obviously was not as involved and corporate on a decision-making level, and just was trying to get the game to gamers. But I visited the Belgium office, and these talks definitely took place, and it was a lot about money. So I can imagine at a certain point, if that changes, then yeah, it's definitely not a good place to be anymore. Currently, what are you doing at the moment?
I am doing a lot of paintings. I have written a novel, which I'm looking for a publisher for. I've written a book of short stories that is at a publisher in England. I have
Nice.
I'm working on a couple of game designs. My wife and I have come out with a series of coloring books that you can get on Amazon.
Cool.
We've started a home garden because I don't know if you know this or not, but the economy in America is collapsing thanks to the same kind of idiots that run big corporations running the country. So we've started a big garden to grow our own food.
Okay.
And what else am I doing? Oh, playing a lot of video games.
Well, which ones? Not the ones by EA and Activision, you said,
No,
but
no, they're nowhere near on my menus anymore. They forgot how to make good games. I've been playing a lot of 7 Days to Die. I play that regularly on Mondays with Daniel Jellin, one of the other Magic artists from the early days.
Okay.
Fights in Tight Spaces is really good. That's a deck building combat game that sort of takes those fights from the Bourne movies that always happen in tiny little rooms and made a very compelling game out of it.
Fights in tight spaces. That sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a really, really good game.
Sounds fun.
There's really too many to name here. Let me call up my library here. I can see what I've been playing recently. Sniper Elite 5. I've been playing a lot of that.
I
I
know
always
that
like
one.
the Sniper Elite games. Wreckfest, Demolition Derby game. Easy Red 2 I've been playing. The Titan Quest Anniversary Edition, because I never finished it. And now that the new one is out, I really do want to finish it. Wow, it goes on and on.
Oh,
It's
nice.
too many to list.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And when it comes to board card games, you got a couple of concepts you're working on. You just said, or
Yeah,
nice. And you never stop doing that. I mean, over the years, I saw a couple of things we just mentioned, Cloud Fantasy, and it doesn't matter if it worked out or not, but you always try to be creative in that space as well, right?
I do. I love games.
Yeah,
I
very
really
nice.
do. Like it says under my name, a gamer who likes to make games. That's how I see
I
myself.
I like that. That was a very nice tagline for who you are. That sounds awesome. If you look back to round up the conversation, maybe just the last question about MTG, because again, that's where my passion lies. If you look back at the Antiquities set, you were art director for that as well. I think
Yes.
until the dark, and then a little break until you came back, right? But
And when I came
Antiquities,
back, I wasn't art directing. I was art managing
okay,
because I no
fair
longer
enough.
had the freedom to allow the artists to have freedom.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, but I'm particularly interested in Antiquities. It's my favorite set, even more than the Dark, and Unlimited is very high on my list as well, because that's around the time I started, and I still could get some Unlimited cards when it came out. It's very difficult to get Alpha Beta in Germany in '94 when it came out there. But Antiquities. Do you remember some cool stories about that set? How that set came to be? The four cards you made: the Colossus, the Atok, the Crumble, the Clay Statue, but some other cards as well. How did that come to life? Maybe you get some insights I haven't
I,
heard of yet
I'm
of my
afraid I
favorite
have
set.
no interesting
Oh,
stories. It came about the same way as all the others did. I was
all right.
handed a list by Richard of all the cards. And if I
Okay.
had any questions, I would talk to him or one of the other designers about it. And then I would get my list and start making phone calls.
Did you get the backstory about Urza and Mishra and these kind of things, or did
Vaguely.
that
I think
vaguely?
that was all based on a Dungeons and Dragons campaign Peter ran before Wizards was a thing.
Ah, okay,
So it was a lot of
interesting.
inside stories for that group. But Wizards was founded by a close group of friends. Lisa
Hmm.
Stevens was hired from White Wolf. So she was
Yeah,
the first outsider in the company, and I was the second like outsider in the company. So I wasn't
I
privy
hear.
to all the backstories of all of that.
There I thought I could maybe get some more interesting facts about antiquities,
I'm
but
sorry. I'm afraid I'm the
no,
wrong person for that.
no worries. I'm just kidding. But it's always good to ask. You never know what people might know. Um, you had influence on the art, of course, on the artists and the way the things shaped. Did you also have influence on the early print runs and the idea
No,
about? No, not at
no,
all. Okay,
nothing about that. Once so I would get the art, I would scan the art, I would color correct it, I would fit it in the border in Photoshop on the card, no text. Then I would hand those files off, and after that, they were out of my hands completely.
fair enough. No, I can imagine that was you had your hands full with that already.
Also, that sort of thing isn't my strong point. That they would have been foolish to put that in my hands.
No, but I can imagine. I mean, at a certain point, you talk about things and you see how people respond to the game, and you get an opinion. You have an opinion about even stuff like, hey, maybe we should get some more in the hands of the players or not. You know what I mean? As a gamer yourself, you might have an opinion about that. But
Oh,
I hear
I'm
you.
sure I did, and I'm sure I said things, but
Yeah.
nothing I would remember, and nothing of any real consequence. It would have just been my opinion.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, you put your stamp on the game, and you definitely shaped the early years, I think, of the game and how it looks like, the look and feel. Did you, in fact, create the backside of the card
I
together
did.
with Christopher Rush?
Well,
Okay,
I had
and
Cris do the word magic. I had him
okay,
design that word in pen and ink on illustration board,
and
just
you
black
did
and white, and then I
okay.
filled it in and everything. So the only outside influence, there's two on that card, was Cris doing the black outline for the logo, and
Mhm.
if you see that little bluish purple oval around the main one, that
Yeah.
is from a painting by a guy called Joe the Ant. And what
Okay.
happened was Lisa Stevens, apparently at college, this guy who called himself Joe the Ant, who was an ant for God, was giving away all his earthly possessions to people that God told him needed them. And when Lisa walked by, he gave her this painting. And Lisa bet me that I couldn't work that painting into the game Magic. So I took a little piece of it and put it in that border. You can't see what anything is. I mean, it's not like any identifiable, but yeah, the texture of that is from that painting by Joe the Ant.
Super interesting. And the mana symbols, are those your and Christopher's
That was
creations
Cris.
as well? That was
Cris
Chris.
did
Okay.
those. Yep.
Super cool. So yeah, you definitely shaped the look and feel, not only with your art, but also with these kind of things of the early Magic the Gathering days, and yeah, for a couple of years to come. And you made a lot of us gamers very happy in that time, and like I said, influenced how our development would yeah, take place over the years, at least for me. And I know one or two friends of mine who also work in the gaming industry because of that time we had in the LGSs with Magic the Gathering. So yeah, that thanks to you as well, that happened. So I think that's super cool. Thanks a lot for that, and for all
My
the
pleasure.
early Magic the Gathering art. Still, thanks a lot for that. um Jesper. Jesper, good.
Yes.
I said it correctly.
Oh, I also designed all the original packaging. And
Oh,
originally, I wanted the Magic deck to open like a book. I don't know if you've seen Lifesavers candy, if those are in Germany or not, but in Christmas, they have like an
no.
assortment set you can open up that opens like a book. That's originally how I wanted the packaging to work, but we couldn't afford it at the time.
So I got an unlimited starter deck here. You designed that.
Yes.
Oh, really? That I didn't know yet.
And
Oh,
the
very
display
cool.
boxes for them and the boosters.
Oh,
It
really?
was a very, very small company. The art department consisted of me. So
So, yeah. If
I'm
we don't know who did it, you probably did it.
I'm saying the art department. There was, which was a sub of the production department. There were more people in the production department, like Dave Howell. I believe he did all the text layout, chose the fonts and that sort of thing. So that's Dave Howell who did all that. But when it came to the image and graphic design, that was me.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's super cool. Jesper, thanks a lot for the conversation. Stick around for a second. I'm gonna end the recording here, but I want to thank you for the chat and the super interesting info about yeah, all the stuff you did, and of course especially about Magic the Gathering and the early days. I appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome. And I would like to thank you and all the other players who made my current life possible. Because without you, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And I think of that every single day.
I think it's very mutual. No, thanks a lot, Jesper. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Stay healthy, stay frosty as always, and let us know in the comments if you got any questions for Jesper we might answer later. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Bye, folks.